Hello and welcome to another video. So this video is a video on stacks. So if you take my CIT 130 class, this might have been something that we missed this week. But so what we're going to do here is I'm going to set up a new project. And this project is going to be called, since this is going to be stacks, it's just going to be called data structures. Alright. And then we need a class. I'm going to set up a project, a package. Actually, what I'm going to call this is data structures. And then I'm going to set up, in this case, I'm going to set up subclasses. So I'm going to call this data. Where is my key at? Okay. I'm going to call it data structures dot stacks, because it's a sub package. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a class, and obviously I'm going to call it stacks. And I need a public string. And hit finish. Alright, so I hate this whole thing in here. We don't have to import anything in this one. Alright, so we're going to start here. First thing that we're going to do is describe what do we have. Name of our class is stacks. So we're going to type in stacks. Stack, I'll call it my stack equals new stacks. The hit return. Alright, so now we need to describe a library up here that we have. So we are going to set up an integer, which is going to be an array that we'll need to display a list of items. So what we're going to do is we're going to do private int, call it items. Just keep it my items, keep it going like that, equals new integer. And then we'll put, 100 in there. There we go. Now we need to have another integer that would be a negative value. This will be the index to keep track of the topmost element. So if you may have seen in my lecture how we had the element, remember that stacks is like a PEDS. It's the candy that you eat. So remember, when you insert one, you're basically doing a stack. When you take one out, you're taking it from the top. You can't take it in the middle because of the object that you're using. So we'll do private int top equals -1. And remember, this is index to keep track of the topmost element. I'll put PEDS. I think that's how it's spelled. Anyways, alright, so what is next here? Thinking here. Alright, alright, so let's end. I need to end that. Okay, perfect. I'll create some space here because it's just two on top of each other. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a method, a Boolean method. And this method, I'm going to call it public Boolean is empty. And I'm going to do a return top. That's our value up there. Less than 0. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the push for the PEDS, we'll call it. What we're going to do is do a public void push method. We're going to pass in a value, which is going to be, we have int items, so it's going to be a numeric value, an integer. And I'm going to say, hey, if the top equals my items dot length -1, then throw new runtime exception. We want to let it know that the stack is full. So we want it to put in a value that you can't. It's like, putting in something that doesn't have room. So we'll put our items plus top, which increases the value, equals item. So actually it's my items. I called it item. And it should equal item. Let's see, why doesn't it equal item? 1 second. I type it wrong. Let me copy it. Oh, I didn't put the ending there. Alright, so that fixes that. Okay, 1 second. Alright, so we have the push method, and we have the Boolean method. Alright, so what else do we need here? We need to start adding some values for the push, and then we'll add another method going forward. So let's do this. Hit return here. We'll do a system.out.println stack. Well, I think it's called my stack. Oh, my stack dot is empty. Okay. Now let's do my stack again. Dot push. So that means we push an item, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste this a little bit, so I'm typing it in. Let's do it 4 times. You can do as many times as you want. Alright, 5. Come up with random numbers, 4, 6, and 10. Alright. Then we'll do a system. You know what? We'll just copy this guy here. We'll display the empty method. Let's see here. Now what we need to do is we need to create 2 methods. We need to create a method called peek. We need to create a method called pop. Those are things that you've learned in my lecture that we did. So probably the first thing that we'll do is we'll create the pop, since it's at the top here. So let's do create pop method. Alright, so the pop will return the topmost item and removes it. Alright, so we'll do public int pop. We'll do if is empty. So if it is empty, we check that validation. We say throw new runtime exception. Oops. That the stack is empty. Okay. Now we want to return. What's going on with spelling today? Return items. My items. Top minus minus, and then end it. Alright, now we need to create a peek method. This returns the topmost item without removing it. So like the peek and pop method should ideally be involved after checking the stack is not empty. So that's why we check the stack to see if it's empty. If it's empty, then we do something. Or we don't do something. So in this case, I'll do public integer peek. And I'll say if is empty. You know what? I got tired of typing this guy out. So I'm going to copy him. Throw him in there. And then I'm going to say return my items top. Boom. Alright, so now we need to have some peek information in there and some pop. So what are we going to do first? I'm going to try to make this easy as possible. I'm going to do system.out.println, And then I'm going to say stack dot peak. It calls that method. Oh, my stack. Right. Alright. My stack. And then we need to do pop, peak, pop, pop, pop. We'll try it that way. That sounds like a music video making. So we should do, let's see here. We should have a pop here, a peak here, and then a pop, pop, pop. We'll change them around, so I'm not really worried about it. We'll just change the values around. It gives me something to copy and paste. Alright, so we'll have a pop here. So I'll just change this value to pop. Should call that method. We have a peak. We'll have a pop. So we should have peak, pop, peak, pop. Peak, pop, and peak, and pop. Alright, so we should have this guy right here should be a pop. And then we should have one more pop, maybe. You can add multiple pops. I'll just add one more pop. Alright, and I think that is it. Let's see if it works. It does. True, false, 10, 6, 4, 5, 5. So it does work. Let's run it again. Same thing. So you can play around with this and remove stuff and add different values here and see what you get. But in a nutshell, that's how you create a stack. If you have any questions, just shoot me a message. Thanks.